What are we doing here? We just saw Troll 2.
Oh, yay.
Mm-hmm.
Popcorn dick.
Popcorn dick.
Popcorn dick. Popcorn.
That's the initial reaction. Popcorn dick? Alright, so there it is on the screen. So I wanted to ask everyone here what their initial response was. Ben?
The movie was terrible, but it was good at the same time.
Nick?
I liked it.
John?
Seriously?
A 10 on the fun scale, a 0 on the I would totally watch that scale.
Zach?
Never again. Never again.
So that's what you get, folks. We got a couple people who thought it was pretty great. Some people will never watch it ever again. Alright, next. Now on to my review.
They're eating her! And now they're gonna eat me! Oh my god! That's my impersonation of a really terrible actor in a terrible movie. And yeah, what you have just seen is me and my friend's initial reaction to watching Troll 2. Only one person in that room has seen it before. It's my friend Ben. But I've never seen it before, and this movie alone, directed by Drago Floyd. It's one of the best, worst movies ever, and I know there's a documentary attached to this. And if none of this makes any sense, let me just do a little summation of this movie the best I can, because it's a mess. It's a hot mess. And also, I will tell you about some of the pros and some of the cons and whether or not you should check this movie out. However, this movie is very bizarre in the fact that it's not going to be like one of my traditional reviews. Just gonna give you a warning there, and I'm probably gonna put some spoilers in this as well. All right, so Troll 2, the 20th anniversary Nilbog edition. That's what we watched here the other night. Me and my friends had a really good time. My friend was in town, and so we wanted to watch a movie together, and we all like terrible movies there for some reason. I've grown to like terrible movies with them. I really don't care for terrible movies, actually. It's one of those things that I'm like vehemently against. We watched Evil Dead 2 about a year ago, maybe, or so. I wasn't into it, but when I was with them, it was great, because I would have never watched that movie on my own. Because I'm not a big fan of like movies that are bad, that kind of know they're bad, but they're self-aware. But the thing is, some of these movies are meant to be made, and I'm pretty sure the director here did not expect this to be as bad as possible. But I don't know, I haven't seen the documentary that has covered this, so I really want to check that out. So enough about all this, let me just summarize the movie. It starts off with a kid and his grandfather. He's reading a story to him, telling him about some of the evil goblins that live in this bizarre town that are chasing these people, and pretty much they're turning him into the plant material, aka this plant material somehow turns them, they're oozing green, they're growing limbs, like tree limbs, and twigs and stuff like that, and pretty much what happens is the goblins eat you. But yeah, the movie's named Troll 2, so yeah, it's about goblins, not trolls, but I digress. But anyways, his grandfather disappears somehow when his mom enters the room with just the biggest eyes. That lady's got psycho eyes, and I'm pretty sure she's really psychotic in real life. Don't know. I've heard some things about that. I don't know. These are just accusations. I don't know. But anyways, the grandpa wasn't really there, and she's like, oh, we're moving soon. And then like, oh boy, because pretty much they're swapping families. These families are switching houses. One in Nilbog and one in where they're from. And so they're gonna just drive up there to Nilbog and switch houses back and forth. So they drive there, and man, there's a great scene in there where they're having an argument, the sister and the brother, and then the mom wants to just end it. So she's like, sing my favorite song. Just sing my favorite song. It'll end all this. And then they're like, I don't want to do this. That's what like the main kid says. And then it's like, fine. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And then they all start joining in, but they're all off key. They're off tune. They're not singing the same verse. And it's one of the funniest things in this movie. This movie is just ridiculous. It's so bad. But they get to the house and they meet this other family, and the other family is just like super serious, like, oh, here's the keys. Like you can tell something's wrong. It's because this entire town is filled with goblins dressed as people, and the only one who really believes this is the kid, and I can't even remember his name. It's not even going to tell me on the back, but they're disguised as humans, and so these goblins are trying to get these people. I digress. And so pretty much ridiculous things ensue, and then the folks at the town are being heralded by this one lady who is like overreacting all the time. I'm doing it no justice, even though I look like a crazy homeless person. This person is, I'm fairly certain, a crazy homeless person, even though they have this just giant house. It looks like a witch of some sort. She keeps making the townsfolk, some of the townsfolk, drink some liquid, some green liquid. It looks so disgusting. I don't know why everyone's like, oh yeah, I'll take that. I'm like, sniff it before you drink it, or at least, you know, like look at it and be like, I don't know. That's something I might not. I'm going to pass on that one. But thank you for the hospitality. However, this person is very, very pushy, very over the top. This is the second woman in this movie that is a little nutty in the overreacting department. The mom being the first, even though everyone in this movie is so overreacting. The grandpa even does some fantastic and hilariously dumb things. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject. This woman is pretty much turning these people into plants, like the dream that the boy was having with the grandpa having that conversation, so that the goblins could eat these people. And so they're pretty much trying to trick people into becoming plant food, or, you know, goblin food in this town of Nilbog. And by the way, if you haven't figured it out, Nilbog is goblin spelled backwards. That's enough about my plot summary, because it's a little ridiculous right now, just like this movie. So some pros. This movie, with a lot of friends, is fantastic because it's so bad that you can all laugh together and not really pay attention to the things that are going on. However, I will say another pro of this movie is just how, I don't know how aware it is of itself, but the acting is so bad in this movie that it's kind of comical. You know, it's one of those things that you just have to witness yourself. And that's enough about my pros, because I'm going to move over to the cons. There's not much I can say besides this movie is just shit. It's a terrible, terrible movie with terrible acting, terrible dialogue, terrible characters. You don't care about anybody in this movie. A lot of the set pieces, a lot of the things that I saw. There's one point in time where the goblins were in the house of the family trying to terrorize them, and then the scene, the camera like pans over to the hallway, and there's one goblin poking his head out. I was like, oh crap. And then like moves out of the way, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't supposed to be there. This movie is rife with terrible things. All right, so what does that verdict give me? This verdict. All right, so I'm gonna give you two different verdicts. If you want to watch this movie, go watch it with friends. Go have some alcohol or some food or something where you can enjoy it. Okay? If that's the case, then definitely go watch this movie somehow. But on my own scale, this movie is definitely a 1 out of 5. It's not a good movie at all. But, like I said, there's that caveat of you need to watch it with friends if you're going to watch this movie. This is one of the greatest worst movies of all time. I said it wrong. But it's definitely an experience nonetheless. Thank you so much for hearing my rant, and I had a really fun job making this, and thank you to my friends who were in the very beginning of this episode. And give me a like down below, comment, and so don't forget to tell me what your thoughts on Troll 2 is. And also, I will see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.